Good afternoon and welcome to the latest edition of the Riddick Franchise Documentary. I'm delighted today to be joined by the one and only Radha Mitchell, who played the role of Carolyn Fry, Pitch Black in 2000. And I suppose that to start off, Radha, I suppose 20 years now since Pitch Black came out. Does it almost feel like that, or does it almost feel like yesterday that you were on set with Cole Hauser, Keith David, and Vin Diesel filming what was Pitch?
It's weird. It feels like so much has happened and it feels like yesterday. Very strange, isn't it? 20 years. Yeah, it doesn't feel that long ago, to be honest.
And I suppose, Radha, how did the opportunity come about for you to get involved in Pitch Black? Were you recommended by your talent agent, or recommended for the role, or you could go through a casting audition, or was it a look of fate that landed you the gig in terms of the role of Carolyn Fry?
Well, I had just made a movie, I think my first US film. It had come out, I guess, so I was auditioning for this movie. And I, at the time, was pretending that I was American because at that time there weren't a lot of Australians in LA, so they didn't really feel confident that you could play American characters if you weren't American. So I remember that, yeah, I auditioned and just pretended that I was American for the whole thing. And then it was a surprise, actually, when they found out that I was Australian, and it was good, actually, for the production, just for their financial structure in the end, because the movie was shot in Australia. So I got to go home and make this film.
Yeah, you mentioned the movie was shot in Australia, basically the outback and part of the desert in Australia. And what was that like in terms of shooting in the movie? What time of the year was it shooting? Was it long days in? Was it sweltering heat in terms of production? I knew from my research it took 60 days. The whole shooting schedule was fairly intense.
Wow, it was very intense. Yeah, we shot actually a lot of it in Queensland, which is on the coast, which is like a beach kind of area. But we were mostly in studio, in this big black studio, which we didn't leave for like 16 hours a day. And it was really my first, I had never made a movie on that scale. I'd only made little independent films, that were made by film students. So this was quite an experience. It felt like quite a psychological effort, I think, for everybody involved at the time.
And you mentioned the set there in terms of studio, and obviously the ship was the major part of the set. And what did that sort of look like? Was it a big sort of production, that sort of the ship that you are in terms of its layout? And was it almost like a maze in terms of structure?
The ship? Well, the ship was a set that we kind of used some of the time. A lot of the time we were kind of in the void, the outer space void. But when we were on location, which was not for the major part of the shoot, but we were in this town, Cooper Pedy, which is an opal mining town. And we got to meet people that were living underground. There's people, in Cooper Pedy who build houses underground because it's this sort of a town in the desert, and that's a way to stay out of the sun. So we shot some of the scenes on the spacecraft there, obviously, and I believe it's still there. In fact, if you go to Cooper Pedy, you can go to the wreck of the spacecraft from Pitch Black and eat a sandwich.
And Radha,
and go home with an opal. And go home with an opal. They're actually these really beautiful magic stones. And I think Vin Diesel gave me a ring, which was an opal, which I think I still have from that time even.
And Radha, in terms of Pitch Black, it was supposed to be a one-off sort of a sort of movie at that sort of time, and I know the cast members that were involved in it, and I believe so that most of the likes, even the character Riddick, was supposed to have actually, the original script was actually supposed to have died in the sort of movie, and in the turn, David Toohey was the director. The main character was actually written for a female, the Riddick. So there was an awful lot of change in terms of
Oh.
the film movie, and they decided that the Riddick character should actually live on, and because Vin Diesel and David saw something in the character, and is that something you will go along by? Did you think at the time that Pitch Black would be one of its kind in terms of the whole Riddick sort of story? Did you ever see a follow up like we have on a wider scale today?
Um, I don't remember the script being different by the time I was cast. It was sort of, the question was whether they're going to kill Fry or not. That was my character. And at the time I was like super excited about it. I thought it was going to be a very dynamic screen exit. But I wasn't particularly industry savvy, I guess, and I probably should have lobbied to live. But what was I going to say? No, I think there was also just a really interesting and very creative chemistry between Vin and David Toohey, which has, you know, you can see in the movies they've continued to make together.
Yeah, and I suppose Rada, in terms of your character, sort of Caroline Fry, she had to assume command once the captain of the ship met his demise in the sort of crash, and it's almost like you're on a sort of on you survived one horrific scenario, and then you're lost in a desert planet, and you face the ultimate test of survival, the survival of humanity in outer space.
No, I mean, I think there's that sort of moral aspect to the story. You know, characters are questioning their own humanity, and not in a kind of intellectual way, but in a very sort of instinctual way. And I think Fry's character embodies that. She's somebody who, in the beginning of the story, was, I guess, dumped a bunch of people on a ship and let them die so that she and whoever was on the container she was in could survive. And having survived that experience was carrying a lot of guilt, I guess, throughout the story. And in the end is offered the opportunity to leave and leave everybody behind, and finds in that moment that she just can't do it, not even in her bones. So I guess that's sort of the question of the story. What do you compromise for your own survival? And, you know, what are we living for? I guess we live for each other.
And in terms of the aliens that inhabited the planet, was that all done through greenscape or SGI sort of visual sort of computer effects? What did it actually look like on sort of stage when you were sort of acting out those sort of scenes? Was it you? Or was it almost like, did you feel sort of intimidating or such, or was it robots or some mechanical sort of robots that were coming at you? Or
I think there was nothing. It was just a story we were telling ourselves. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm in quarantine and there's a knock at the door, which is very exciting. Hang on a moment. Oh, can you come back in 10 minutes? Is that possible? I'm just doing an doing a video thing right now. Thanks a lot. Wow, I just sent the doctors away for you. I'm in this quarantine in Sydney and they came to do the test, and I said, can you come back in 10 minutes? And they were all like, oh, can we? Oh, okay. Anyway, they're coming back in 10 minutes. So we have to, what's the question? Where are we at? Yeah.
in terms of the sort of alien sort of creatures that appeared in the movie, in terms of when you were sort of shooting, what did that sort of look like, the sort of props, or was it all visually enhanced?
No, that was all, you know, just an imaginary scenario. And I think there were enough of us on set to kind of imagine that together and create a real experience of like fear and terror. But there was nothing but a dark room for the shoot. And then I guess later on they brought in the creatures in post.
And Radha, in terms of the cast, I suppose an all-star cast, Cole Hauser, the legendary actor Keith David there as well, Claudia Black, Rihanna Griffith, and as a cat, and Vin Diesel. As a cast, have you sort of kept in close contact throughout the years? You still have contacts with those people who appeared in that sort of a movie, and if so, sort of fond memories?
You know what? Not really. Like we'll bump into each other every now and again, and it's always like great, like blast from the past, but not close contact. Yeah, which is, I guess, a shame. I would have liked to have kept in contact with Claudia, but I guess we all just went on our own journeys.
And I suppose, Radha, before I let you go now, the sort of final question to you, and probably the hardest one before to close up the interview. If someone put your character, Carolyn Fry, and they put her into a sort of a Riddick sort of dictionary or encyclopedia, and they left two blank sentences underneath, and they asked you, Radha Mitchell, having portrayed the character Carolyn Fry, to write those two sentences, what would you like those two sentences to read to sum up Carolyn Fry?
Oh, golly, yeah. On her tombstone in outer space. On her, yeah, on her, dinosaur remnants or whatever ate her up there. I would say, I don't know. We come and we go, and how we leave defines us.
How we leave defines us. Radha Mitchell, on that note, thank you for taking the time today to talk to us about your memories in Pitch Black in 2000, playing the character Carolyn Fry, and no doubt with further installments of the Riddick franchise in the pipeline coming down in the next few years or so, we might see you re-immersed in the sort of Riddick sort of universe, and even if cameo roles or guest appearances. And for the moment, Radha Mitchell, a pleasure talking to you today, and hopefully everything is positive and everything is safe, and your check goes the way you want it.
And you too. Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.